Great job, you made it. So happy you could join us. In this vast journey we call life, there's a lot to talk about. So on our podcasts, you can expect to hear anything from sports, adventures, love stories, all the way to outer space. Enjoy.
Wish that we could see it if someone did come away from it and go, oh, you know what, that actually makes a bit of sense. I might try and change this. I might even go and seek some help. I might call Giorgio to help me out. I might call like this organisation to help talk me through the problem. Like, because I really do hope, because this is one of the main reasons I wanted to start the podcast in the beginning, is talk about stuff like this, because it's not...
Bring awareness.
Yeah,
you know,
it's
everyone's
not
so varied
enough about, man. It's really not.
Yeah.
Well, my recommendation for anyone who's on a diet and is worried about what they're eating, get off the diet. That's my recommendation for you, because clearly the diet isn't working. And
When you say worried about what they're eating, do you mean quantity or do you mean what they're actually eating?
What, they're
worried
just
more so
fixating
about
around.
what they look like, whether they're fixated on the food. Depends on what they
I think it depends
really
on the level, though.
want from the diet. If you're not in like the right mental headspace to have a diet, don't do the diet.
Yeah, I was about to say, if it
Don't do
becomes
the diet.
obsessive...
Because if you jump into it, the worst thing you can do is jump into a diet, not ready for it, and then you develop an eating disorder.
Yeah. You know what? He ain't too far for that, because before I started counting calories, I was fine. I was absolutely fine. And it came for one day. And this is where I kind of wish I had someone in and around me to go, no, what you just heard there was wrong. Don't stress about what you just said. I had a coach one day. I went on trial at Leicester, and I'd done really bloody well. And I took my top off. And I wasn't fat. I was playing at Crystal Palace. Like, I was just average. I was 16, still had a bit of puppy fat on me. Like, nothing wrong with it. Growing. You're
just a healthy,
yeah, this is the
person.
thing.
Yeah.
Like, your body grows till 21. Its brain develops till 25, if I'm right.
25, yeah.
Yeah, so I had loads of years left of just eating normally until I could go, all right, probably best to start sorting my diet out now. Because, like I said, I weren't fat. So there's no point in changing it. But he came in and he drove me home that day, and he was like, oh, you did play like really well.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thanks, it means a lot. And he was kind of a stickler. He was like one person who would just dig you out for random shit. And it meant a lot coming from him. And it kind of boosted me up, and I was probably smiling on the way back. And he went, but... And then straight away, I was like, oh, belly over. Fucking hell, what's he about to say? And he was like, when I saw you took your top off, I went, like, fuck, is he serious? Like, is he... And I'm like 16. And he's saying this to a 16-year-old who don't know nothing about dieting, don't know nothing about training, really. And he goes... he just went... I just don't think you're taking it seriously. I went, why? And he went, well, mate, you're not in shape. He was like, you ain't got... And he genuinely... These were his words. You ain't got a six-pack or nothing. And I was like... you ain't
got a six-pack, so you ain't got a chance, mate.
Well, this is the thing. And you're like...
That's crazy.
But as a kid, hearing that from someone who was not only a coach and taking a stand as the manager for the day, he was a fucking talent scout. This fellow who said this.
But
to
that
me.
is like a proper old school gaffer.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
but you know what? He was young. He was a young fella. He was about 30 odd. Like, I've got nothing but respect for him.
Uneducated swine, mate. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Well, look at Tyson Fury.
Yeah, oh, mate.
Is he taking it seriously?
Mate, yeah, exactly. But that works for him, and fucking stick to it. It works for you.
When Anthony Joshua
Yeah.
got knocked out by Ruiz, he got on the phone to his nutritionist. He's like, you're sacked.
Yeah.
The nutritionist is sacked. Health and fitness coach, whatever, you're sacked.
Well, this is the thing. There was memes going up everywhere going,
yeah,
this was the world champion of boxing, but he just lost it to this geezer.
Yeah, exactly.
And you think that this geezer looks like a specimen. You're like, well, he looks like one, but he obviously ain't performed like one, so it didn't mean nothing. And
I'm glad those stereotypes are sort of getting broken down.
Yeah.
Because those stereotypes are old.
Yeah,
They date back all the
bollocks.
way from like the bloody 50s, 60s, when bodybuilding started.
Exactly.
You know, when you started having like these like blown up, out of proportion bodybuilders. That's when steroids started, I think, in the 60s. That sort of generation.
Like 50s, going into the 60s. And it was probably around before then, but it got popular around then, I think.
It's because they found new... Because, funny enough, Joe Rogan, again, I listened to a podcast on it, and there was a fella who's retired from it all now, and he's actually a... what's the fellas who do, like, the endurance training?
Ultra marathon runners.
Yeah, you know, like them type of fellas.
Yeah.
And he like goes around running with 50k barrels like 20 times.
Like David Goggins.
Yeah, kind of like that kind of stuff.
It's not Dorian Yates.
Oh, he could be, you know.
He's an ex
English.
Mr.
Yeah,
Olympia.
yeah. And he had a podcast with it. I think it actually was. And he had
Ex Mr. Olympia,
Yeah.
7-time Olympia.
and he started talking about it, and he went, it got so like blown up with steroid use when they found ways to hide it from getting tested. So like they would find a new drug that they had no test to check for.
Yeah.
So then everyone jumped on it, and then they jumped to the next one once they figured out had to look for that, and it just rolled and rolled and rolled and just
but that's the
went out
thing,
of
yeah,
hand.
because you can get so many different variants of something.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
and then if they're only testing for that one specific thing, it's like what happened to the, what was his name? He had cancer and he won like a Tour de France, and it was like a really big deal. Ended up getting done for doping, got all his
Louis
medals
Armstrong.
taken. That's it. Yeah, he
Yeah,
got his
yeah.
medals taken away from him.
yeah.
And he got away with it for so long.
Yeah.
You know, no one knew.
But that's the
Crazy.
thing. Blood doping, that's a nuts one, isn't it? Where you go
It's-
high altitude
yeah.
training, take blood
I
out, freeze it.
Did not know
innit?
that.
And then
Do you
it
not?
inject
No.
it back in.
Yeah.
So instead of having
Once
like
it
8
thaws
pints,
out, yeah, because it's
you-
got more red blood cells in it, which deliver
Oh,
more
right.
oxygen to your body. It's mental, like
Whatever it
brilliant.
does.
Yeah.
It's performance.
But
It's
that's
sport
the
performance.
thing. Like they'll inject it just before the obviously the day. Be in their system, they'll go and do.
like superhuman.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
wouldn't blow out basically because you had all these extra red blood cells,
Yeah.
but there's no way of testing for it. But now obviously there is, and
Yeah.
that's how they found them out. Because they keep files of everything they do, which is
yeah.
Yeah.
some people think brilliant, and other people who are in the industry are thinking, "Fucking hell, that's terrifying."
Well, a lot of the time as well with these steroids, they're in your tests or whatever. They're in your system only for a certain amount of time.
Yeah.
So someone
So you
could like
could've
do a
took it,
certain type of cycle before they compete or whatever.
Yeah,
It's in their system, but then it becomes undetectable because
Yeah.
it's sort of
Yeah.
some of it filters out to beyond like a detectable level.
yeah,
So there's still some in their system, but most of it's already left.
Yeah.
But that stuff that's already in their system, they can't actually detect it.
yeah,
Yeah, I was watching some like Oscar De La Hoya highlights, and I come across like a YouTube shorts of him calling out Dana White, and he was like, "Listen, I'll give you 5 months to come off the juice so it doesn't come up, and then we'll have a fight." And it was like, "Oh, you can do that?" Like, is that I didn't know. So there must be like so many people in the system who've probably done it before, and then just had 5 months off. They've got the improvements, but they're undetectable. And then they go in the ring, and it's so dangerous.
it's
like,
fucked.
Yeah.
'cause you can
'Cause-
kill it. You can kill someone.
Yeah. Mike Tyson had a talk about it, didn't he, on his podcast, where he went, I think steroids and any performance enhancing drugs can be used in anything other than a physical sport where you're hitting someone.
Yeah.
Because you can kill someone. Like,
Yeah.
why not? Like, and this is his argument anyway. Why not, if you're cycling, use steroids, use blood doping, use all that stuff? It just,
it takes away
And
human
then you're going to
potential.
have
It
like
does.
these weird superhuman athletes,
yeah,
most likely from Russia,
yeah,
or should I say the Russian
Yeah.
Olympic Committee,
yeah.
like these bloody absolute madmen.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on another tangent actually. So recently, there was the Winter Olympics, and there was this 15-year-old Russian girl, and she was I think a figure skater. She had an awful performance. No, she's 15, but she was shit. She was absolutely shocking.
Well, let's get some ice skates on you.
She fell over. Yeah. She fell over about 4 times. Commentators were like, "Oh,
Yeah.
ooh." Like it was actually quite cringy because 15 years old, all that pressure on
Must
her
be so
shoulders.
devastating,
She's
yeah.
just like absolutely fluffing it.
Yeah.
And she actually had been doping.
Wow.
So the Russians or the coaches were like, bing, into this poor 15-year-old girl.
That's crazy,
But
man.
that's it's genuinely that's happening.
Yeah,
isn't
because
it?
I
It's
hate
nuts.
needles. That's the
Oh,
thing. It's like
yeah,
anytime anyone mentions anything like that.
Well, I don't know whether it's needles or ingested.
Yeah, well,
Yeah, I had a fella in secondary school who started taking pills.
Hmm.
I don't know what he was taking. He went off after about 3 months because another tangent. He got pregnant in like year 10, who's a year 8, and you're like, whoa, yeah, fucked. And yeah, so he went off, but he started doing like pills and stuff, and he got shredded sharp. And I
Yeah,
mean, like within about 2 weeks, he was like looking veiny as fuck.
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck are you taking? And he was like, these.
Diuretic or something.
Yeah, mate, he pulled them out of his bag.
Yeah.
He went, these. And I went, what are they? And he went, oh, it's basically steroids, mate. And I was like,
Fuck's sake.
fucking hell. I was
14
like, do you
at
really
school,
need it?
pulling them out of your Just Do It bag.
Yeah,
Oh, look at that.
You know what? I've rocked a Just Do It bag for about 3 years.
Yeah.
What did he
man.
do? Did he put Melissa in like a litut container or something?
No,
to
just
cover
pop
it
them
up?
in
it
class.
looked like a prescription, like bottle.
Oh, so look,
It looked like steroids.
Yeah.
He pulled them out, and they were like the coloured capsules that you put into it, but it was all prescription based on the front of it.
Wow.
It was nuts. Yeah. I don't know where he got them from.
That's crazy, man.
I just stayed away from
Yeah,
it.
but
Second
probably
it come out.
they're so easy to get access
They
to
are, man.
nowadays.
You go
isn't
to
it?
any gym and you talk to the right, but you see the biggest geezer in there. You go, you got any steroids? You know anyone who can sell them? And they're like, yeah, actually,
Yeah,
got
there's
some in
always
my bag.
someone-
Do you want some?
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
One of my old clients said to me, like, he literally was confronted about by his PT at one point at the gym I used to work for. He was like, yeah, and this was like years back, but he was like, yeah, like, I'll sort you out with something. It was first day,
Damn.
PT sessions, and he was like, listen, this will get you really quick results. And I know a few people will do that sort of thing, and like they'll use it as part of their business. Like some people sell
Yeah.
supplements, some people sell steroids, and it gets quite dark,
yeah, it does,
Yeah.
man, because it's kind of ruining someone's health for financial gain. That's a bit fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just think
I
about it
don't like
that.
the over-reliance in this culture on drugs
Nah.
to sort of like almost cure their problems.
Mm.
Because I mean, we're going back to that previous conversation we were having about like massive pharmaceutical companies, like the amount of money they earn. I think I forgot what drug it was. Something like Prozac or Ritalin over in the States. They sold like $14.8 billion
Was that the
worth
Valium?
of it last in 1 year.
Prozac's coming down, I'm assuming.
Yeah, antidepressant, I think. Yeah, yeah.
Because I was actually going to touch on that with you about antidepressants. Is obviously, if you're prescribed them, you don't necessarily need to take them though. Still, it's sort of down to the individual, kind of.
Mm.
But there are a lot of drawbacks I've heard to taking antidepressant pills. What would be your start? And obviously, I know it's going to be the same thing. Is if the person and the circumstances right, then yes, take them or whatever. You know what I mean? But
It's a means to an end.
yeah,
You don't take them
I've
forever, you
heard
shouldn't.
some like horror stories about them. Is where not horror stories. It's just like extremes of people going, I feel no emotions now. I don't just feel no sadness. I feel nothing.
Yeah,
I don't feel no. I don't want to laugh. I don't
Yeah.
want to cry. I don't.
Yeah.
I just want to be.
just numb.
Yeah.
Well, the
And that's-
purpose of antipsychotics and antidepressants are kind of similar. So antidepressants, they basically numb you out. So do antipsychotics.
Yeah.
So they work on the dopamine receptors in the brain, which is the pathway, reward pathway, pleasure pathway, and also, pleasure pathway.
Yeah.
They numb it out, basically. So you just feel a bit numb.
Yeah.
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 So things like cortisol numbs that down as well. But you need something like cortisol because it's good for you for when you feel the right stress.
Yeah.
So the right stress is obviously good.
Mm.
Like stress to meet a certain deadline or something like that. But something like an antidepressant would numb that down.
Yeah.
So maybe to a certain extent you don't see the real pressure of
Yeah,
meeting
and then
this
you
deadline.
feel lazy.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, exactly. You might feel a bit sluggish, but it numbs down your worst emotions, but also numbs down your good emotions.
Yeah. So there's
Yeah.
trade-offs to it.
Yeah, it's trade-offs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's good if you're like extremely depressed,
Yeah.
something like that. And it's like they do different dosages. So I think the max you can have is like 40
Mm.
milligrams or 20 milligrams,
Yeah.
and the lowest you can get is 5.
Yeah.
So you could be on like 20 milligrams at the start, but then slowly wean off until you get to
Oh,
5.
okay.
Yeah.
And then until you, the idea is you don't be on, there's no point being on antidepressants for like a year.
Yeah.
Maybe a year or two, depends on how severe what you're going through is.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's not a long-term solution because your brain will get used to it.
And it'll
Your biochemistry will literally start matching that. And once you wean off of it, it will pretty much be exactly the same. Because your brain is meant to adapt. It's the fastest adapting organ in the human body is your brain.
Yeah.
You are constantly, just by having this conversation now, we are making loads of different connections. Or
Yeah.
strengthening, I should say, loads of different connections in our brain.
Yeah.
And just doing that as adapting.
Mm.
So think of you're taking this drug non-stop for 2 years. Your brain's going to be so used to that.
Yeah.
It's going to produce that same similar levels
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
dopamine.
Which gets to the point where, because that's a numbing drug, you become so numb that you can't feel anything
Oh,
anymore.
serotonin, not
Yeah.
dopamine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I
Yeah.
I knew what one you meant, but I didn't
Yeah.
know which way they ran, basically.
Yeah, I
but-
don't have a Scooby. I just
yeah, I'm actually
just know
so
that's-
engrossed
yeah.
in this.
Yeah.
I was watching stuff like this on podcasts, hoping they would ask the right questions. I now get to ask, and I'm like a kid in a bloody playground. I'm loving this. But what I wanted to ask as well, which is, it kind of not close to home, but I know people that are doing this for certain reasons.
Mm.
But what is your take on taking weed, basically? Not necessarily weed, but even like hemp oils and getting prescribed. Because I know people who've been prescribed like oils by doctors to calm them down. But is that like a weak case? Is that a strong case? Like, what's your take on all of that?
So I think the more different types of therapies there are out there, the better.
Mm-hmm.
Because we've got so used to one type of therapy. You know, it all started with, you know, psychology is a relatively new-ish
Mm-hmm.
study.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could literally date psychology all the way back to Socrates,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But modern day psychology started obviously with Freud, William James, all that psychoanalysis, all of that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And that was like in the 1870s.
Where it started around, yeah.
Yeah.
So, but all of that was based on like talking therapy.
Oh, okay.
And that's been used ever since.
Mm.
And I think there's an over-reliance on talking therapy.
Mm.
I don't think it always needs to be talking. So nowadays, I think the more types of therapy there are out there, the more options there are for people.
Mm-hmm.
Because one person talking therapy, that might not work.
No.
They might not want to talk.
What
They
else
might
is
want to
there?
write it down.
Write it down. Okay. Yep.
Or they might want to do something like an exposure therapy.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
be
I've heard of that.
exposed to a certain phobia or their fear.
Oh, okay.
Like slowly.
Yeah.
Wean
increase it.
himself off of that.
Yeah,
phobia.
exactly.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
That's pretty cool. I've not heard of that one
Yeah.
before.
But
Cool.
there's so many different types of therapy. There's EDMR,
What's that?
EMDR,
All right. EMDR.
EMDR,
Yeah.
eye movement desensitization and reprocessing.
Right. That
Therapy.
sounds really.
Intricate.
Yeah.
They use that with people with PTSD.
Oh,
Okay.
Like that, yeah.
So what do you do like with the eyes? Like.
So the body and the mind are so interconnected. So you've got the vagus nerve, which is runs down your spine,
Mm-hmm.
but it's got loads of branches into parts of your body.
Mm.
So 80% of your body, muscles, things like that, and organs, sorry, not muscles, not 80% of your organs, all of the neurons go connect to your mind, your brain.
Mm-hmm.
So your brain is basically feeling the stuff in your organs and vice versa.
Right.
So that interconnection also feeds into your body. So things like massage therapy really works.
Yeah.
But that's why mindfulness works, focusing on
Yeah.
your breathing. Because the mind and the body are so interconnected,
Mm.
if you work on trying to restore a balance between your mind and the body, I think that should be the key
Yeah.
to therapy. Because a lot of the times there's like a discrepancy.
Yeah.
So with eating disorders, someone may think that their body looks disgusting. Or someone with PTSD may hold so much stress in their body, they're literally like this, just stiff as a board.
Yeah.
So just being able to just relax in your own body,
Yeah.
I think that should be the first goal.
So
Therapy.
just control your sort of just
Let
breathing
go of muscular
basically.
tension as well.
'Cause
Like,
I've heard a lot of talkings about breathing can. There was one thing that I found quite interesting is that they it was for yoga this basically practice that they done, and they just went, let's just sit in a room for 10 minutes, all be quiet, and the fellow who's like taking the class is walking around and he listened to people breathing without telling them, so he's just like, relax, just sit. And anyway, you hear some people go and he's like obviously taking note of, and he's sort of gone, right, you. I picked about 5 people out of a class like 30. He went,
Yeah.
stand up. And he said the rest of the class, he was like, their breathing is like spot on. When they're taking a full breath in, nice and slow, and then exhaling out, nice and slow. Nothing's like being rushed. It was like the rest of you're breathing like you're in trouble. You're breathing as if you're stressed, and you go. And I'll sometimes like I'll lay next to Chelsea whilst we're going to sleep, and I'll hear her breathing in that exact same way. I'm like, it almost makes me get like a little bit like, whoa, flipping hell, you're stressing me out, man. Like,
and we're so connected as human beings like that when someone else is stressed or even they're signaling to you unconsciously that they're stressed, you'll pick up on it.
Oh yeah,
and you'll start to feel stressed as well.
Yeah. Like just by being sort of in and around people, not necessarily just Chelsea who I'm with, but through family, like I could pick up little things just walking past people. I'm like, "Whoa, you need to calm the fuck down." Like,
Yeah.
You and me
Right.
both, bro. Like,
yeah, you know what I mean?
yeah.
I think you become aware of it, especially when you're separated from them. So I would take it you don't see your family like you see them quite regularly, but you don't live with them.
Once a week, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So I suppose like that difference, like you now can notice it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so
Definitely.
you go back home, you're like, you're a bit fucking weird, aren't you? I spent my whole life with you. My God, how did I do it?
That's exactly it.
I get that as well.
But yeah, like I think it's quite interesting the sort of that all links together. And obviously, sorry, I interrupted like I have done for the millionth time, but no, it does hit home when you just something as little as just someone's breathing can mean so much to people. Like it really does.
Yeah. Well, your body, literally 90% of communication is through your body language.
Yeah.
So it's not even the words you use or how you say it. Literally, like us looking at each other right now, we're reading each other's we're communicating to one another.
Yeah.
Even if you just sat there in the quiet room, you still communicate with one another.
Yeah.
It's in a different way. And as humans, we're still quite very similar to our primate selves.
Yeah.
Like we are quite primal still in a way. I mean, just look at Putin. I knew you were going to come to this topic. I couldn't wait. I've been sitting here waiting for it.
It's going to take him down right now.
Exactly. Yeah.
I saw something hilarious the other day. It was it's probably going to be again old by the time we post it, but a farmer with his tractor was pulling along this tank. Yeah,
that's brilliant.
Crazy, man.
But no, everyone's starting to turn. Well, obviously they're turning against him. But he was a black belt in, was it judo or
taekwondo?
Something like that.
Karate.
Is that why he's mates with Jason Segel or whatever his name? Steven Seagal.
Yeah.
And he's become like a threat to Ukraine now as well.
Yeah,
he's been banned, isn't he, from Ukraine?
Yeah.
That's the same with the Klitschko brothers. He put out I believe it's like 2 days ago, but they announced it anyway. But I don't know how true it is.
Yeah.
Because it was Sky News, but they put out that there's a hit list basically gone round with 10 people's names on it that Putin's gone and sent 500 people into Ukraine, like apparently like unlisted Russian agents and stuff. Send them into Ukraine, and he's gone. These 10 people, whoever gets them, you're mint basically. You're right. And the Klitschko brothers are on there, obviously.
Are they?
Yeah.
Ukrainian?
No, sorry. Who's the fella who just had a fight with Joshua?
Alexander Usyk. Yeah.
Usyk's on there as well. Yeah, because of they got so much pull in the media.
Yeah.
So much pull in the media. That's such a big thing. That's how the war's being sort of determined at the moment. Is sort of everything in the background, politics and media.
Yeah.
Everyone's turned against them because of media, and then we're just fucking their economy up now because we're not selling
That's
shit.
how the war's going to be fought.
It's going
to be a cold war.
It is.
It's going to be a cold war.
We spoke about this the other day, and I think
Exactly.
you're bang on. I think you're bang on with it.
So it's going to be fought with the economy.
Yeah.
We're going to starve them out, basically.
Yeah.
But then again, they are in the world, they're the second leading supplier of natural gas.
Yeah. It's
funny
so
you
their
say
pipeline goes through Ukraine all the way to Germany.
Yeah.
And then from Germany goes exported, I think, down to France and then over to us. I think. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, there's also another line going out to America. It's because they're right next to each other, aren't they? So there's literally a pipe that goes from Russia to America.
Yeah.
And that supplies 60% of their fuel.
Crazy.
Yeah, but
which is nuts.
The thing is, if they cut off the supply to us, it's a mutual relationship, so we obviously pay them for it.
Yeah.
And their economy relies on the gas that they sell.
Yeah.
I think like 60% of their GDP, 30% of their GDP comes from the gas that they sell. That's huge. They're going to be absolutely broke.
Yeah, it's already broke. I mean, what's the currency over in Russia? It's
rubles.
Yes. Yeah. $1 is 158 rubles now.
Yeah.
Which is nuts. It was, I think, 10 years ago it was 78. So in 10 years it's obviously doubled. But just before the war broke out, it was 128. And it's just been slowly going down ever since. Like,
I have some weird inside information about the gas in Russia.
Go on.
Okay.
Don't ask me how I know or who I knew it from, because I'm not going to start naming names. But through somehow I know someone who is, well, I don't really know them personally, but I know someone who knows them, but I've met them. Granddaughter of the person who owns like a big gas company in Russia.
Mm-hmm.
And like literally a month or so before this all kicked off, she quit her job.
Oh shit.
And she was just like, for no real reason,
she knew
really.
something was coming.
must have done because
Yeah.
none of us did. But she quit her
Inside
job,
scoop.
and she didn't have a good reason really to quit her job, other than she just didn't want to work there anymore, apparently. But yeah, and she was like mint, like mad wealthy, like crazy.
Fair play, got the
Yeah.
money.
This-
Skedaddled,
yeah.
that's what I would have done.
Yeah, but this is the thing. There's a fellow I follow now ever since this all broke out. Is this fellow whose YouTube account Bald and Bankrupt. My cousin got me into watching it. It's interesting. It follows the USSR and sort of where they've left off on other countries, like what they've sort of left behind after sort of just turning back into Russia, like everyone taking their own countries back and giving back to the people and stuff. But he was over in Ukraine as it was all kicking off, and he put up a proper controversial post of, I can understand where he's coming from, but a lot of his followers didn't, of basically saying banning people, Russian people from shops in Ukraine is the same reason, for the same reason that you would ban white people from going into shops for slavery this many years ago. It's got nothing to do with nowadays. It's nothing to do with the Russian people anymore. It's just by the politicians that's being run it all. And it's loads of kickback gone from it.
That's the
Use
thing,
loads
yeah.
of other like good examples. I probably butchered it, but
No, it makes sense. Like the people aren't, like, civilians are never to blame. That's the
no,
thing.
Yeah, exactly.
it's
Yeah.
the thing. Like obviously, don't get me wrong. There's obviously always going to be exceptions. Like, but even if you go back to like 1945 with like German soldiers and stuff, it was
Well, they were-
propaganda, like ridiculously.
A lot of them didn't want to fight.
No,
Yeah,
or they
yeah.
was fighting for what they thought was a different reason. Like it was
being
nuts.
brainwashed into some ideology that
And you
didn't
can't
even
blame the
exist.
people for it, man. You really can't. You got to blame the person who's sort of taking charge of it. And obviously, everyone's blaming Putin. There's no disputing about like that at all.
No
And some of his
disputing Putin.
governors as well.
Oh yeah, I didn't even know that.
Some of his governors as well.
Yeah.
Equally fucked.
Yep, definitely. Even as far as going with Abramovich, who owns Chelsea. Apparently,
Oh, he
he
pulled
was,
out? Yeah, he's not...
Yeah, did you know the background of it? It's fucking nuts. Apparently, he's one of the wealthiest people in Russia because of obviously how much money he's got.
He's always on his yacht though, isn't he?
Yeah,
Someone should capsize it.
Yeah, mate,
Yeah.
just puncture a hole in the side of the boat.
Exactly.
But they were found out that he was linked for one of the main causes of this outbreak with Ukraine. But now
It's all
they've
money, innit?
yeah, they're
the
forcing
thing.
him to sell the club, sell all of his possessions in the UK, like his houses, like properties and everything. And he's being like basically just told to fuck off back to Russia. And he's sort of damn right.
Yeah.
Like if he's convicted and it's rightful conviction, then fuck him.
Yeah.
Like if he has got a lot of pull. He is a scary fella. Like,
Yeah.
I'm even scared about putting this out now.
You're going to be on that list with the Klitschko's and
11
Usyk.
people now.
Well, it's the big people with loads of money. It's just like capitalism is just absolutely destroys the world.
It does, man.
It leads the world, but also destroys the world.
Yeah, because it's the wrong things. Like even I'm a massive advocate of. I think there should be more money pumped into space exploration, exploring like the actual world we live in. Not as much money as they're pumping into war. Obviously, no one wants that, but it happens. But
Looking after the environment as well.
yeah, like that. Sorry, that's what I was meaning by like exploring the planet
Exploring our
and sort of
planet,
regrowing what we've sort of tarnished in the
Cleaning the
past.
Thames.
Yeah,
It's
oh, mate,
disgusting.
fucking good luck filtering that shit.
Yeah.
Too late.
Apparently, even
Touch
the
that, you
fish
turn
are high.
music.
The fish are high because there's so much ketamine in the sewage that the fish are overly stimulated to a point where they're wiggling about like crazy because there's so many geezers on gear in London.
You heard it here
And
first. Fish on care.
In the Thames, there was a real study.
That is brilliant.
Yeah.
Oh, not brilliant. But
Who's that absolute nutter who goes on to... is it Eddie Bravo, that massive conspiracy theorist? That goes in Joe Rogan's podcast sometimes.
Yeah, I think
Oh,
I know.
This
you're
is
right.
the conspiracy comes out with.
yeah.
Yeah,
Fish
yeah.
on ket.
Well,
and that's
this
why
is.
people are.
I read it in a. I
like,
don't know how
yeah.
true it is, but I read it in a news article.
Yeah,
and it come
yeah.
up like
Metro.
scientists.
Yeah.
Scientists found study of fish that
It
when
makes
they're in the
sense,
Thames, they are overly stimulated because there's traces of ketamine in the water and
It makes
they're
sense
drinking-
though.
Yeah, I mean,
It does. It literally in the capital of Class A drugs when you're in London.
Mate, if
But-
you went to University of Kent, yeah, it's Kent City over there.
Is it? Yeah. Well, to be fair,
that's
I'm
called
assuming.
Kent.
Someone accidentally spelled the last thing wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah, but it's a rich area down that way. I'm assuming.
Affluent parts. definitely affluent parts. I mean,
Yeah.
Kent is like quite a big county, isn't it?
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
loads
it
of
is
different
actually.
parts as
Yeah.
well. You got like Ramsgate, Ashford,
Yeah.
Margate.
I was meaning more just like
middle class
Have
settlements.
you ever
Yeah.
been to Margate?
Have you not?
Have you ever been?
Shithole.
It's rough as
Oh,
hell.
I was thinking
It
you
is
could go there. I was
rough,
about to
mate.
like downplay it. I was like,
Everyone's
no,
on
it's not too
something.
bad.
Everyone's on something. You
Yeah.
can't like you walk along the shore and everyone's just getting on it.
Grinding
Like,
their teeth,
yeah,
swinging
yeah.
their jaw
Oh
about.
mate, I was
yeah.
scared for my
That's
life. So it weren't even like warm either. Like I went there just to kind of clear me head one springtime.
Yeah,
like, I
yeah.
just went down there. All these people just shooting up
Fucking
and
hell.
just walking along.
Shooting
and
up on the bloody road. Pavement.
honestly, man,
Fucking
like
elastic band and flicking a needle about to
weird
about to
place.
go on some journey.
Weird place. But it's the worst thing about it is it's such a beautiful place.
Yeah.
Because you're walking along,
yeah.
and you're like, wow, it's a really nice town. You know, it really looks lovely.
Yeah.
You got these crackheads.
Yeah, it's
Crazy.
It's fucked, man. It definitely is. But the what was you saying before the cat fish story?
Putin.
Disputing Putin. Then we went on to basically, you know, environment, how we can save the world.
Yeah,
and
so that's what I was saying. I remember now. Yeah, so space exploration. But the last time, obviously, there was a massive injection of like cash for basically NASA was during the Cold War. When we were trying to beat the Russians because it was a space
Right.
race. It wasn't.
Right.
yeah,
It
trying to get
wasn't
to the
war
moon.
anymore.
What do
It
you mean
was
we were trying to beat the Russians? I don't think we were
The
too
US.
involved. I mean,
we
The
were
West.
we were funding NASA at the time.
Okay.
So with
Right.
it, basically just sort of going, yeah, we were on the moon too, kind of.
Yeah.
That little part of the rocket's ours.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so that was sort of the biggest kickoff into explore, and we probably wouldn't like. There's another conspiracy, the moon landing and all that stuff. Let's just say, for argument's sake, it happened, and that wouldn't have happened if there wasn't a massive friction between two countries, like at all. It wouldn't have been anywhere near it. Sputnik wouldn't have gone up into space and figured out the Kuiper belt, like the Van Halen belt, which is the radiation belt that surrounds the Earth, which sort of protects us from like asteroids and stuff.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't have figured that out, and then we wouldn't have known to put astronauts in special suits to fly them through it, and they would have been roasted if we didn't do it. Like, you know what I mean? There's so much stuff that
If trial and error.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No dogs or monkeys, just no,
Yeah.
it'll be fine.
Exactly.
Just send him up.
It is quite
Yeah.
amazing how quick they then designed
Yeah.
the suits to going out of our fucking planet. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
just such like a bizarre concept.
Yeah, just think about it. Like, that is an atmosphere suit. Like, that is something you hear in like sci-fi.
Star Trek.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
Like, and you're like, oh, when you see someone with like the suit on and stuff, you're like, yeah, space suit. Like,
It's exciting to
Yeah.
think of what can actually be done and what we're going
Yeah.
into, what the
I'm
future is.
I'm pretty sure I got the numbers right. I think it's America spends 500 billion on their army military a year.
Yeah.
So
That makes sense.
across the board, I think it's.
Yeah.
I don't want to be too wrong, but I think it's 516 billion
Mm.
on just the war front, just funding the
Oh, I
war.
love a good fight.
Yeah,
Don't
they
they,
fucking
man?
do. They love sticking a
I
nut.
love shooting stuff.
Yeah, I guarantee if Ukraine was part of NATO, they would have been like fucking over there
If
straight
Yeah, any
away.
reason
if Trump
to,
was
yeah.
still empowered, mate, it would have already kicked off.
Yeah, it's only not because
I
mate
feel like he
keeps
had
forgetting
some
about that
sort
we're in
of,
war.
He had some sort of like, I don't know, was he in on with the Russians?
He was
There was
trying
some
to.
kind
He
of
was trying to
conspiracy,
build.
you
He
know?
was trying to build a relationship apparently with the Russians.
Whatever that
wasn't he?
means.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
fuck knows what that means. I think he was trying to get it for better prices for oil.
Yeah.
So I think he was
yeah.
trying to do it as a businessman
Well, he's
going
very-
into it.
Yeah.
He was a businessman, wasn't he?
That's why.
He was a very good businessman.
He is, and
Shit
that's-
politician.
Yeah, it was fucking terrible. If you got, and I'm dead serious about this, if you got Biden when he was running like if he ran alongside Trump and won it, and they just got Trump in the background, it would have been fine. No one would have had any problems because he was competent back then, about 4 years ago, and then Trump's got him out of financial problems. Like, the US came out of loads of financial issues that they had for so many years after Trump. He just was a dickhead. He was just
But
an
that's the thing,
absolute
like morally,
arse.
ethically, humanely, he was a terrible, terrible person.
Yeah.
But like you say, he must have. Well, I don't know.
He just knew
Yeah.
numbers. He
Yeah.
just knew how
That's
to
why
run a
democracy
business.
doesn't work, isn't it? When you have a
Yeah.
two-party system.
Yeah.
Because if they work together,
That's the
you've got
thing.
the economic side with Trump,
Yeah.
who generally was actually, he's a businessman through and
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, imagine if you
He
had a
knows
team.
what to do.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you've got the relatively stable side of
Well,
Joe
just
Biden.
imagine like Barack Obama with Trump fused. How perfect that was, because everyone loved Barack Obama. Like, don't get me wrong, like people were like Obamacare. There was uproar about it a little bit, and I don't understand it because I'm not American. I've not really looked into it, but he was just a likable person. You would watch
a celebrity, really.
Yeah,
Like.
he was.
But so was
brilliant.
Trump in a way. That's why after Trump, like when they was looking for like. There was like a thing where Will Smith could have been president if he wanted to, like, because they're looking for celebrities now. You know, they want
but to be
likable
fair,
people.
It's not the first person. Wasn't Ronald Reagan an actor?
You know, I think Will Smith
he?
would be an amazing.
I'm pretty sure. I know one of the presidents was an actor. I just can't remember which one.
Oh.
But I didn't study American history.
Yeah, to be honest,
Chelsea
it's
did,
not
and she'll be going, no, it was this person, and fucking telling me off. But
Bring her in.
Yeah,
Another
exactly. We
guest.
should do a
Oh,
podcast
smack
with
that me
Chelsea.
out, so I'll get beaten up. You saw her earlier.
Get your slider and stick you in the face.
Come back, walk out, and come back in the room holding me eye with a black eye underneath there. She said no coming on.
Talking about black eyes, I haven't got a black eye, but he chinned me the other day.
Oh, he caught
Yeah,
you.
and he saw
caught
me.
you so
Yeah.
well, man.
We was having a little sparring session, and he just caught me with a left hook.
Yeah.
Bosh.
I heard him grunt and then just
Yeah.
lean into it. I was like, oh, fuck that.
Yeah, mate, I almost on the deck.
Honestly, when I saw, and I wanted to, I was trying to say to you at the time, because I wasn't undermining the punch. The connection was so good, but about 30% of his power. And this is the scary thing. He caught him with 30% of his power and a good
A
connection.
bit more than 30%.
It was about 60%.
Yeah.
All right, let's say
Yeah.
all right, 60%.
Yeah.
But he's caught him, but just so cleanly, right across the face. I just saw you go wobble a bit, like your head wobbled anyway, and then you just went, oh, and shook your head a bit. I was like, if that was me, fucking hell, I'll be crying. I'll be going, oh, you dickhead.
I'm so glad I pulled that punch because I was ready. I was cut the other one.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. Because he caught with the left hook and he went for the right hand.
I
But
just
that's
saw
the
your shoulder
thing.
go down. I was like, oh, he's about to
Yeah.
get fucked up.
That's the problem, though. Like,
That's going to stretch you out. wasn't it? Yeah.
I ran over to the reception and go, please help.
it's all a good laugh. It's all a good laugh.
Excuse me. Friend's kind of like not breathing.
Yeah, mate. I got PTSD, mate. Sort me out. Help me.
I don't blame
That
him.
was crazy.
I've said this like twice, maybe even 3 times to him now. Like, the weight difference between you two is probably the major thing. There's a bit of a height difference,
It's
but
good
not
though,
too much.
for me.
Yeah.
To train
It's
with
good- it's
someone
good
like
for him
Giorgio. Yeah.
he just chinned me.
It's good for him. You
No,
can fucking hit me.
training with someone who would be difficult for me if
Oh,
I wasn't
yeah.
in a fight.
No,
Because
honestly,
it would
yeah.
be difficult for me in a
Oh,
fight.
massively.
Imagine if he
I
was
watching the fight.
taller and longer.
Oh,
and
If only,
God,
mate.
it'd piss me off.
I'd be an absolute weapon, mate.
Yeah, mate, that's exactly it. But you're quick as fuck. Like, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, we're talking
Yeah,
about this
yeah.
one punch, but you're quick as fuck, man. Like,
So it's got to
Genuine-
keep me on my toes.
yeah, but you
Yeah,
was at
yeah,
one
yeah.
point. He was running around the ring, and I was seeing you just sort of going after him like Terminator, just like walking after him.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah, literally
You
walking after him, and he
Yeah.
was like fucking just running around the ring. But,
Yeah, that's what I think styles make fights, man. You got like
Sure,
a brawler like yourself, got a boxer like me, and obviously because I coach you and we do pads together, it's nice to do a bit of sparring sometimes. Not so
Yeah.
nice to catch a big left hand, but it comes with a job, you know.
Should've put your glove
That's
down.
it,
I'm sorry.
yeah. What can you do?
Yeah,
But yeah,
exactly.
good stuff, man.
Yeah.
I'm too nice to do anything like that, to be fair. If I was to get in the ring with you, I'd be going, no, I can't.
But that's
I
the
can't
trouble,
land a
isn't it?
punch,
Yeah,
man."
because you have our time.
I did enjoy it.
yeah.
Although it didn't look like I was enjoying it, I was
Yeah.
enjoying it. to be fair. Yeah. I was just getting frustrated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's always been one of my issues in me. If I can't do something, I get fucking frustrated.
If you
Oh,
can't
yeah.
chin me every time, it gets frustrating.
Because I get in that stage where if I'm sparring, I kind of want to hit something.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like I do.
Well, that's the
have
aim.
That
Yeah.
sort of- I know, yeah, but
Yeah,
I do
I'm
have that sort of.
You can kind of tell
anger.
it. That kind of, I wouldn't even call it anger. I'd just call it just natural kind of aggression. Just
Yeah.
like you sort of said earlier, still being primal and everything.
Yeah.
When obviously, like, you're a nice person. I've spoken to you like
Think so.
earlier that I think I'm nice.
Yeah.
But no, I spoke to you earlier that day, and obviously you weren't a dick or anything. And then, but
Mm.
the second you got in the ring with Giorgio, you just
It's all red.
game
Just wanted to
face
kill me.
was on and just looked like you were ready to fucking go. And I was like, fuck that sideways. But yeah, that was like, I find it cool that you can just switch over, because I
Yeah.
don't think I'd be like that if I was boxing.
it
If
depends,
a fight's different, like obviously defending yourself's different, but
Yeah.
boxing, you know, it's strategic, and
Yeah.
I think I'll be overthinking shit. Like, I'll be going, right, okay,
Just for
hand.
context as well, like, so me and Aaron train pretty much every Friday.
Yeah.
We have a little boxing session. Jack come along this Friday, and this is where Aaron chinned me.
Yeah, the only time he's
Yeah.
ever chinned him, apparently.
There was like a sudden.
Yeah, mate. No, my
Flat.
jaw weren't right for like, it's only just recovered. My jaw, like the left side of it, because
Jesus.
you caught me like that, and I've been mouth open, and it was just
Yeah.
kind of swollen on the left side for a little while, but it was alright because you expect that. It's boxing. You're gonna get hit.
Yeah,
So naturally, you know, you take it on the chin.
Yeah, well, you were saying as well, just breathe through your mouth.
Yeah, I'm an
when
idiot.
when you box as well.
I was like talking as well because obviously I'm trying to coach you at the same time, and like literally like because I'm talking to you, I breathe through my mouth. No, because I'm
a chin though, like you going fucking.
That's the thing, because I was like, because he was holding back. I saw he was holding back, so I was like, listen, you need to give it some, but obviously,
all of a sudden,
you know, give it some. I was like, literally, like, I remember, like, I pulled you into the corner. I was like, I'm gonna try and slip some shots in the corner so you can actually get some off, because if I'm on my feet, you're not gonna catch me. And then you caught me with that left hook. I was like, I shouldn't have let me.
It just shows you, though, like, if I did manage to get someone into a corner against the ropes, you know, I could.
Yeah, you can land a clean shot. Yeah, definitely.
And also, I think the thing that to me looked the most difficult, and this is what I was trying to stress here, is that the weight is such a big difference. You leaning on him, or you even just being close to him, that's enough to go.
But that's the thing, yeah. That's why I've got to be on my toes.
Yeah,
that's it. Yeah,
not be trapped in a corner, like
which is good for me in that sense, because I learned how to be really agile and not stay in one place for too long. Whereas you're trying to pin me down and keep me, you know. So that's it. Really works to our strengths. Yeah, in that respect.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, boxing's helped me a lot. Like I've always been interested in some sort of. Oh, not always actually. I have had like an interest in boxing, you know, since I was a kid with my dad. Dad was watching boxing when I was a kid around, I think I was around 8 at the time when I started watching boxing with my dad. He jetted off to Manchester, but then later on I sort of developed a sort of interest in it again when I was about 16 or so. But I was through watching like MMA, mixed martial arts. Yeah. So I found that, then I was like, trace myself back to boxing roots. So then I became like fascinated with it. Yeah. Like I surrounded myself like looking back at the old fights, looking back at old tapes and things like that, old training videos. Exactly. Started getting engrossed in it. But I think I had more of an appreciation for boxing when I started to actually do it.
When did we start? Just before the first lockdown.
Like a year and a half.
It was like early 2020.
Yeah.
Like just before we went into COVID. Yeah. Basically, yeah.
Rubbing your jaw there.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we because I remember initially, you know, you really struggled with your movement and skipping and just having that agility and bounce.
But just for context, I was at 91 kilos.
Oh yeah,
this was outside
bodybuilder, used to you know, squatting really heavy and just lifting loads.
And this was lockdown as well, so I was a little bit of a fat butt. I put on some weight as well, a bit tubby.
I wouldn't say you were fat.
There's a little bit of body fat going on.
We'll say fluffy.
Yeah, a little bit fluffy, but very muscular. Like how you are now, but probably just a bit bigger.
Yeah. But I think I'm sitting about 83 kilos now, which I'm happy with.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I've always been around this sort of weight, like 81, 83 kilos.
Yeah.
But boxing's like helped me because I've always been quite an emotional person. Whether it be good emotions, like I just show my emotions. I like literally wear my heart on my sleeve.
Yeah.
So if I'm pissed, I look pissed. If I'm
no
happy,
hiding it. Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm happy, I'm happy.
Yeah.
But apparently, I've got a resting bitch face. I don't think so. I don't think so.
I ain't seen it.
I think you're genuinely like, you know, right to be around. I wouldn't look at you and think, oh, he's miserable. Like.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But boxing's like really helped me just channel that. And I think it's really good. Whatever sort of passion you have, use it to channel some of your emotions. I think everyone should have 3 hobbies in life. One hobby they should earn money from, their job, their main job. So your job is your hobby. Effectively, you love fitness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you know that is you through and through.
Yeah.
Second hobby should be something creative. So for me, it's guitar. I don't play it too much, but I do it sometimes.
Yeah.
And your third hobby should be something fitness related.
You can channel your emotions into
exactly.
Like you said,
something fitness related to keep you active, keep your keep you healthy, keep you fit and healthy. So those are 3 hobbies you should have. But I think with the creative hobby and with the exercise based hobby, I think they should be used mainly to help you deal with your stress.
Yeah.
So when I have like a long day of work, I sit back at home and I play the guitar. Like guitar, literally, I become so focused on this guitar that I literally cannot think of anything else.
That's the beautiful thing about it. Yeah.
Exactly. Or when I'm boxing, I get fucking angry.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Yeah, but you need that vibe.
You have a place to be angry.
Yeah, exactly.
And let out those emotions.
Yeah. And that goes back to the control thing we were talking about earlier, I'll probably assume, is that you having sort of control over your emotions now because you're boxing. You can sort of vent out your anger. You're not bottling it up like some people do. Not talking about it, and you don't necessarily need to talk about when you've got that sport. Like I'll go to the gym, and after I come back, I'll feel fine. Like I'll go moody as fuck. Like I'll come back from a horrible day at work or a problem in the family or something like that. I'll go after the gym. I'll close my head off, and no one can talk to me whilst I'm in there. I come out, I feel good.
Yeah.
And I feel absolutely fine. And even in regards to like this editing, I've told you a million times, it's so fun.
Yeah.
And that's my little creative vice going away, and that makes me sort of shut off from the outside world and stay up till like 2 o'clock in the morning sometimes, like just going through it all. It's brilliant. Yeah. And I didn't even realise I had 3 hobbies. Like you said, one that brings you money, one that's creative, and one that keeps you healthy. Yeah. I didn't even realise I had them. And like that's the thing. Like people are watching this now and going, "Oh yeah, shit, I have. Yeah. I've got all them."
Or if they don't, fucking find it.
Yeah, that's the thing. What interests you? Like Chelsea's kind of the same. Like bring up the other half again. She's so talented at drawing.
Yeah.
Like ridiculously talented. Went and done like architecture in school.
Wow. And
really, really good. But she don't do nothing with it, which I think's an absolute waste. But at the end of the day, that might not interest her. And
that's her creative side that she has away from work.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like she now has like many creative things that she does, but she probably won't even notice it. But I think it's good to have like a balance though, because some people do go like Chelsea. She goes overboard. She'll have a thing where she focuses on like reading books, fan fictions and stuff, and crocheting, drawing, and
is that like, overboard, or is that like, what do you mean when you say overboard?
Like she tries to fit too much in with her hobbies. Like for example, she made she crocheted a blanket for my mum for her birthday. She started at the very beginning of January and didn't finish till a week after my mum's birthday, which is the 31st. And she would come home, and when I say like spend 3-4 hours after she's done a full day at work, and she's terrible with her sleep. Like unless she gets like 8 hours minimum, she's grumpy as shit, and she'll fucking agree with me on that one. Yeah. But she'll like stay up sometimes till like 11, 12 o'clock at night just doing it, especially till the like last few weeks. But she would also want to read her books and stuff, and then she'll go, I need to start setting. She'll like organise her day to fit all of her hobbies into it.
I'm a bit like that actually.
Yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of positives that come from that, because you become very productive and you get a lot done. And I feel like it pushes your character. So you have this sense of like, if I have a job and I have a goal in mind, I have to finish it. I have to do it. I have to put the work in to do that.
Yeah.
And even if that comes through your hobby, it's not a bad thing, but it can affect you negatively.
Yeah,
like it can affect your sleep.
I think you're bang on with that. Like with me, for example, I've given up football for a while, and that was like literally my life since I was like 11. And but that was an example of a bit too much on, like everything I was doing with this, with work, with moving out, and everything like that. It just I had no time to fit in. Something had to give, and for me, that thing was football. And I think that's when
that was your choice.
Yeah, but that's exactly it. Yeah. It's what was sort of right for me at the time.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I think that's something to have a little bit of a think about, is if you're getting stretched too thin, something's got to give. And sometimes it's just as simple as giving up a little hobby or something.
Yeah, got to make those sacrifices sometimes, don't you?
Yeah, just for your own happiness. Because that's, as much as you think like, more like obviously going out and doing more things, being active, going out, not sitting in and listening to the horrible thoughts that you have in your head sometimes of getting yourself down and
Jack,
everything.
you're a knobhead.
Yeah, just constantly. I'm always hearing that. I'm always hearing it in my head.
You failed your FA level 1.
Dick. You're an absolute twat. You failed football. You're not even playing anymore. I'm like, shut up. But yeah, sometimes you get stretched too thin. And I was getting pretty down on myself until I just went, you know what? I'm not doing it anymore. And ever since I was like, that's probably the best thing that I've ever done.
You feel lighter for it.
Oh, like, massively. Yeah, massively.
I felt like that with boxing. When I left boxing competitively, I just felt like, I can be myself.
Oh, you're not getting hit in the head all the time.
Well, yeah, there's that. Yeah,
well,
there is that. Well, I am sometimes by yourself, but that's all right.
Well, to be fair, you said something after, and I was like, that's fucking nuts. You said it. You genuinely went after you. He was like, oh, that woke me up a little bit. That brings back memories. I was like, fucking hell, he's getting off and getting punched in the face.
Exactly,
yeah, because I hadn't had a proper like chin check in a very long time. So as soon as I got caught, I realised that I can take a punch, and now I'm ready.
Just take another.
Yeah.
Totally shots at bang, bang.
Yeah.
So we turned it on afterwards. As well. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Like, I feel like if
I've awoken the beast.
yeah, I feel like if that had been a proper match, and obviously like we were the same weight class and we were competitively fighting against each other, that would have gone one or two ways. You would have either knocked me out in that first initial flurry, or I would have come back and knocked you out. It would have been like one or the other. If you didn't finish me there, it would have come back. And that's you see that a lot in boxing actually. Like if someone can survive an onslaught, they'll have that spike of adrenaline.
But the other person has an adrenaline dump.
Yeah, because they've just emptied all of their energy on that person, and now all of a sudden they've been caught, they're buzzed, and they're just on it, and they win.
Adrenaline dumps happen quite a lot in fighting sports.
Yeah, I found it really bad. Like as soon as I went for it in a match, I would be shitting myself afterwards. Because if it didn't affect them too much, or I didn't land the punches as clean as I'd like to, and I got no energy left, and we still got a minute and a half left of the round.
Yeah.
Breathing through your
mouth. And now I'm on the run because he's going to come after me, and he's buzzed, and he knows that I'm out of breath because I've just spent a lot of energy trying to take him out.
Exactly.
So,
You have that uh-oh moment where you're like, I'm about to get fucked up. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Run. Yeah.
Happened to Anthony Yard when he lost against Kovalev. That's
Oh, yeah?
the only thing that comes to mind when I thought of that is he had like a 5th round burst where he just went for it, and he tried to knock him out and it didn't work.
Nearly did, didn't he?
And almost knocked him out, but then Saved by the Bell, Kovalev come back and knocked him out.
Yeah.
Flipping out.
Yeah.
Yeah. The more you look into boxing, the more interesting it gets, to be fair. I've only just sort of started getting into it a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, mate,
So
he's
you
got a
have
right hand,
favourite
though.
boxer? Or style?
I absolutely love. How bad is this? He's my favourite boxer, and I forgot his flipping name.
Don't say Muhammad Ali.
No. Current fighter. He's cruiserweight at the moment. Just gone up a weight class. He was going to fight Alexander Usyk.
I'm terrible. I haven't been in boxing.
He's going to fight Alexander Usyk.
He was going to, and then he's
isn't he a heavyweight now, Usyk?
He was going to fight him until he went up a weight class for Joshua. Full.
Wait, so this guy's a cruiserweight you're talking about?
Yeah, he's cruiserweight now. He fought Floyd Mayweather in the controversial where he didn't kind of beat him. He almost did. There's someone watching this now going, it's you idiot, you fucking idiot. It's him.
You're talking about Canelo, huh?
Yes. Yeah,
Canelo. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, when I think of Canelo, I think of middleweight. I don't think cruiserweight. But obviously, he did go up.
Yeah, he's just gone up.
So for some reason, I feel welterweight just because that's where he started from.
Yeah,
I always think he's a welterweight.
But he is middleweight, yeah.
But
he's
everything.
He's whatever he wants to be.
I've just started watching.
He's not doing cruiserweight now. He's fighting Bivol.
Yeah, because that was the thing.
Light heavyweight.
They was going to meet up with Usyk in the middle, wasn't he? He was going to come up a weight to fight him, and then he got the Joshua fight, and now he's gone back down, and like all that bollocks. But he's brilliant. I love watching him.
He is really good.
I love.
I think he's now the best Mexican boxer ever.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I think so.
Yeah, as he is
from what
now,
he's
definitely.
accomplished.
Yeah,
the people he's fought as well.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Even the fact that his fight with Floyd Mayweather was controversial. Maybe not.
I think Floyd.
Floyd did win.
Unanimously.
Yeah, he did win, but he was the only person at the time that was like putting him on the ropes, kind of thing. Having a good
he
fight.
learned a lot from that fight. He said that fight brought him on.
Yeah,
and he realised what he had to work on from that fight.
Yeah,
it'd be interesting to see a prime, like a really good Canelo.
Yeah,
but I don't think Canelo would have got to that level without boxing Mayweather at that time.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Lined up, didn't it?
Yeah,
stars aligned.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it, mate.
Yeah,
I would love to see him fight Usyk. Absolutely.
Yeah, imagine
He's
too busy fighting a war. Like
what? Too different in the weight class.
Too much of a discrepancy.
Yeah.
There's so much of too much. You get what I mean?
I'd
you
love
get
to see it
a certain level. I think he could maybe beat one or two cruiserweights.
Yeah.
But maybe like the guy who was going to fight Mbaku, whatever his name is, he's not skilled whatsoever. Junior Mbaku.
Oh,
I
know the one you're on about. I know the guy you're on about, but I don't know how to say his name either.
Yeah,
I'm not even going to attempt it. Yeah.
Cancelled.
Yeah. That guy. Yeah.
Disclaimer straight.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not allowed on any sort of social media anymore now.
Yeah. It's going to get bad now. Cheers.
Exactly. But he was going to fight him, and I think Canelo would have absolutely bloody annihilated him. Yeah. I've seen that guy's fights before. He's got absolutely very mundane skills. But he's just big and strong, so he wins it through power, just sheer his physicality.
I've got a bit of a conspiracy theory, and
Go on.
I might be off, and I don't. Sometimes I think I don't know about this one, but with Canelo, I feel like he might have juiced once and then done the 5-month thing and come off of it. Because the way he went from welter, like he went up before welter anyway. The way he went from welter to middleweight and the strength he carries, it does make me wonder.
Yeah, because he's quick as fuck.
Does make me wonder.
He's still quick as fuck.
And there was some thing about he got caught up with one particular thing that was in his urine, and they said, "Oh no, it's just the Mexican meat.
Yeah.
His Mexican meat has that in it, and they was feeding the cows that, and that's why he has it." Some BS.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I was like,
I
don't know, there's something dodgy about Canelo. Something.
But they cover it up obviously because he's Canelo, and they wanted him to.
It's.
That's why they gave
corrupt.
him the Triple G fights, both of them, because he was on the rise. If Triple G had beaten him both times, that's it. Canelo's career would not be the same as it is now.
No.
Yeah.
So that's why they gave him those fights. They knew he lost.
Yeah.
It's close enough to maybe let it go.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think the first one was though.
Well, I don't know. I feel like they just both knocked the absolute granny out of each other. To be honest, they both got iron chins. Yeah. It's crazy to see, like the way they take shots from each other. Those shots that knock other people out clean, cold, one bangs. And you got Canelo and GG just taking them. Like, it's crazy.
G's chin is unbelievable.
He just looks at you like that. Like,
you
hit him as hard as you can, just looks at you.
I think he had something stupid like 350 amateur fights, similar to Lomachenko.
Yeah.
He's never been knocked down.
Never.
Knocked down. Never knocked down.
Not even been counted on. Like
no. Counted on, he's been counted.
I was going to say
down on the floor.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
That's the definition of an hard bastard, isn't it?
Yeah,
no, he made it so
different
stuff.
That's a thing.
I wonder what his poor brain's going to be like later on. Though.
I was going to say that. What is stopping him from bloody being knocked down then? Because he's obviously got something up there at the moment that's stopping him from going down.
So a block of wood.
Yeah, it's funny though because you see his face, his jaw's like so defined, and he's got like fucking massive muscles on the side of his cheeks when he's clenching. He's like.
Yeah.
And you're like, what's he made out of?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like
when you see him in normal
Canelo,
clothes, though,
I wouldn't say he's got a good chin. Definitely not comparable to Triple G. But the way he rides shots, really good.
It's smooth.
So someone might
kind of
shoot
parries him.
a left hook at him. He goes like that.
Yeah. Did you see the press conference where it kicked off? Might be the fight before last he had. But
Caleb Plant.
Was that where he threw the straight?
Yeah.
And he just fucking ducked, but he barely moved. Like this is the thing. I watched it so many times back because it's obviously in the crowd, the video.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think he caught him. Like the first time I watched it, I was like, no, he looks like he's quick still. Like I don't think he caught him. And as you watch so closely, just literally drops a shoulder and just covers his chin a little bit, and it just follows through and just fucking hits him.
Gets him a cheeky 1-2 afterwards.
Yeah. It's so clean.
It was funny.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, he was wearing his pantalones. And then you just see, I don't know what Caleb was doing because he throws like this stupid little like I was doing it, stupid little like.
Overhand,
No, jumping and sort of left.
Yeah, so not,
It wasn't,
exactly.
it
bit
wasn't
wild, a wild shot.
And then Canelo goes, Dogs out of the way, pop, pop.
I love hearing him speak now because he can speak English better now. And he just starts ripping people.
Yeah, he's fucking good at it as well, isn't
he?
He's
you want
hilarious.
payday?
Oh man,
what a lad.
Yeah, he is, man. He is.
Yeah.
Oh man, but like you were saying about, how boxing is sort of your passion. I'd say you've come on massively in the last 2 years. I've been training you, like seeing how you've developed. How your movement is like you got
it's
this.
a movement, man.
You've got it now, man. Like, honestly, and I think the more we spar as well, God willing, I don't get knocked out. The more we spar, the better. The more we move around with each other, the better it's gonna get. Like on the pad, you're crisp, you're clean, you know exactly what you're doing, and now it's just turning that into what you do against another person.
Yeah. Need a taller opponent.
You do.
No,
Jack.
You saw my pad work, mate. I'm shit.
No, mate. He was good.
You don't do boxing at all, do you?
No, I done like shadow boxing when lockdown happened, just to do a bit of fitness.
But you were very clean on the crisp on the pads.
Yeah.
Oh, my left was a bit sus.
Not so much.
Everyone's left is like that first.
Yeah.
Your straight right was always crisp every time it hit.
Even you didn't have a jab when you first. I didn't have a jab when I first started.
I didn't even have a straight right, mate. To be honest, I wouldn't even say that.
You had hooks.
Yeah.
We wild haymakers. I think you've got that natural athleticism that will carry you through any sport anyway.
To be fair, I have had that quite lucky to be fair. the only sport I can't do, and believe it or not, is basketball. I'm fucking terrible at
I'm
basketball.
terrible at that as well.
Basketball is just another sport entirely, isn't it?
Yeah, it's so different. Like,
Yeah.
obviously, you need to be like endurance needs to be sky high. Not as much as boxing, but still sky high. And
bouncing a ball.
but the thing is, I was a keeper. I should be all right.
I can't do basketball until
That is something else.
Yeah, that is honestly, mate. If you see me,
Yeah, mate.
It's all in the fingertips, mate.
Yeah. Basketball, yeah.
Yeah. I think we talk about the same thing.
another tangent.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
another one, mate, another one. That's the thing. Like, I should have decent hand-eye coordination and be able to throw a ball because of being a keeper, but I'm terrible.
It's a different technique,
It is, I
Yeah.
and it's a
suppose.
different ball.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, I rocked up to like rounders when I was playing, like, obviously in school, and I was pretty
Yeah.
good at it. And then I've recently taken up golf, and I was good at it, just not good. Like, no one's good at when they start off, but I was connecting with balls quite quickly. Like, I was
Yeah,
picking
yeah.
up stuff quite quick. But yeah. I've
Yeah,
always
basketball is awkward as hell,
been,
man.
mate,
Like,
I was
yeah.
terrible. Netball was the worst because you didn't even have the
You
back
didn't even
ball
have
to,
the back ball,
you
yeah.
didn't even have the back ball to save you. You
It has
just
to be so crisp.
Nope.
Yeah.
that's
I
gone well
enjoy
wrong.
volleyball, actually. Volleyball's a fun sport.
Volleyball's
Yeah,
nothing
yeah,
like that. I do love a bit of
It is
volleyball.
good.
Yeah, badminton's another good one. But these are all stuff you've done in school. Do you remember
Yeah,
like
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
PE lessons where they'll be like just the nets all of a sudden out in the bloody sports hall or outside wherever you had them. And you're like, yes, sweet.
Yeah.
Like, can't wait for this one.
It mixes it up, doesn't it? Because every day it was
Yeah.
football.
Yeah, to be fair,
yeah.
ours was different though because our teachers were, one was a rugby player and one was a basketball player.
Oh, okay.
So ours was either rugby or basketball.
That's cool.
And it was
Yeah.
sort of weather dependent. So if we saw the footballs come out, everyone was like, "This is gonna be a sick day. It's gonna be a sick day," because we barely got it. Like,
Okay,
very
yeah.
few and far between.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's different. It's weird how schools like change it up though, just based on the teachers, though, isn't it? Like,
Yeah,
It's
they do.
based on the seasons as well, isn't it?
yeah.
Always like
yeah.
we did a tennis in summer.
Yeah.
I think badminton as well we did in summer, basketball in summer as well.
Yeah. Oh, basketball was more of a winter one for us because we was inside. Like when we was playing basketball, we had like sports halls and stuff. So that was always like, yep, it's shit outside. Go and grab a basketball, and you're like, all right, fine. And then when it got summer, it was like rugby for some strange reason or another.
Oh, rugby. Always
Yeah.
played that in the winter.
Yeah, we
Oh,
always
mate,
played
I
it.
wish we
Always,
did.
it rained every single time as well.
Fucking wish it did.
It was awful. Awful,
I
mate.
got battered the fuck out of by the ground. It was horrible. I'd done rugby for about a year and a half, and I was, don't get me wrong, I was alright because I was quite big for my age, but like technically I was terrible. But like I would go to school and just get ripped the shit out of, like, because for some reason my school had like bigger kids for some reason than
Something
the
in
actual
the
rugby
water,
teams I wanted to
like-
play. Yeah, it was mental. Like I'll get beaten the
Loads
fuck
of
out
errands
school.
running around.
Yes.
Can't imagine that, Jesus.
Oh man.
One's
Yeah.
enough, mate.
I actually started playing a bit of rugby like last year.
Oh right.
I was Barking Rugby Club. One of my mates who, Frankie.
Good old Frankie.
Frankie, yeah, was playing with Frank. And,
Get him on the podcast.
Yeah, well, he needs to come on actually. I
Yeah.
need to see him. I haven't seen him in forever.
True, yeah.
Yeah, but he's actually he's going to America in June, I think, for like
he's
Camp
one of those
America.
Summer camp things. Yeah.
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 But yeah, he got me into a bit of rugby, and I loved it mainly because around that time it was COVID and it was semi-contact, so no one could clatter me, and I was really quick. So I'm just like,
Is that
yeah,
when they take you around the waist?
yeah, like you
Yeah.
gotta basically if you tap them with both hands around that region,
Oh, you,
then they have to drop the ball, put it through, and someone like
yeah. So you don't actually tackle them.
yeah,
No.
yeah,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah,
We did
that's
do a bit of
alright.
tackling at some point, and that was where I thought, oh, you know what?
No, I'm done for the day. See you later.
Yeah, but I loved it mainly because of the fitness of it as well. Like when I was younger, I didn't mind roughing it, so much. But now I'm a bit older. I feel like if I injure something, that puts me out of my work. I can't do
Yeah.
certain things, so it's
Yeah.
just a bit of a headache, literally. And I was just like loving this for the fitness, and just having that
Yeah.
learning that ball handling skill of like hand-eye coordination again, which you hadn't done since school.
Yeah.
It was so good to
Even
do
the
that
way
again.
to throw
like.
the balls, like
Oh mate, I
Yeah.
spent ages just learning how to spin
Yeah.
past it, like.
just throw it up to yourself and spin
Yeah,
it in the air a few
yeah,
times. innit?
constantly. Yeah, my missus was absolutely like she was. I was passing it to her, like,
Jenica.
yeah, across the living room. I was like, "Can you
Yeah.
just catch it for me, please?" And she'd been there for like half an hour. I was like, "How long are we gonna do this for?"
Oh, that's just like lockdown vibes. That is. I
Literally,
Chelsea's doing
yeah.
the same thing in the back garden. 'Cause obviously I won't. I was still like,
Back garden. What back garden?
oh, not here, mate. I
Okay.
lived in
Yeah.
kind of luxury before I moved out, and like, because my mum sort of landed on her feet, basically. Had a decent back garden, so I was like just practicing in the back garden. I fucked the grass up, mate. So bad. So bad I'd get grass in and I'd relay it. Yeah, so bad. But I had Chelsea like throwing the balls to me and like kicking it at me, but yeah, that was a bit
lockdown vibes.
Yeah, mate, that's it.
Coming out of it now.
Thank God that's over.
Yeah, until World War 3.
So we get drafted, boys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Panic disclaimer. People going, what? Hopefully by this time it stops.
Yeah.
Or we've already been drafted and then
exactly. We're going off.
Yeah, we know it is already.
Yeah, but when you say drafted, it'll probably be like we'll be given laptops and we'll just be shooting off drones.
Sign me up.
I know someone who wanted to go into the RAF and didn't because of that reason. It was like, it's all on a computer. I want to fly a plane. You know, they went through the whole process, and they realised what they'd actually be doing. Yeah. Funny enough, it's the environmentalist guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he gets around.
I was about to say that literally from one.
Yeah. So he wanted to be only like my age, like 25. But yeah, he wanted to go in the RAF, and he was like no, and then wanted to go in the army, and that didn't work out. And now he's going into like with the Red Cross, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so he realised that actually it would just be flying drones around, which is.
To me, that sounds brilliant.
I mean, yeah, but imagine what those drones are going to do.
So let me...
surveillance drones, I'd like.
Drop a little bit of psychology now.
Go on.
A little nugget of psychology. So, in World War One, right, let me preface... Preface? I fucking hate that word. Let me preface...
let me preface this bitch.
Let me preface this with... the fact that humans are not born to kill. We literally is not in our function. We're social beings. We're descended from primates who are social beings as well. That's how we've survived. That's how we developed. How we built these massive so many communities. Yeah, exactly. If we weren't social, we wouldn't reproduce and make little fuckers I have to teach. So in World War One. So the thoughts of killing another human being are pretty much incomprehensible.
Yeah,
you might say to yourself, "Oh yeah, if someone some person came into my house with a knife, I'll fucking destroy him. Destroy him easy, no problem."
Yeah.
But in World War One, only 17% of guns soldiers had were fired. Only 17%.
Flipping hell!
So only 17% of people actually shot at one another.
Wow.
Did it change in World War II, do you know?
That's a crazy statistic.
I think it changed in World War II, but not by much.
Oh, really?
Not by much.
I was going to say, because I thought propaganda would have come into it. And they would have made it sort of okay in people's heads to do it, to go, they're actually really bad. Like, they're doing bad stuff. Like, kill them. Like, you know what I mean?
You dehumanise people.
It changed it slightly, but not drastically. Because they realise that these are genuine other people.
Yeah.
You remember the...
restores faith a little bit, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. You remember the
Christmas Day?
Christmas Day game?
Yeah.
The ceasefire
that's
for Christmas Day.
Everyone
a
story,
dropped down their guns and a little kick around.
Yeah.
So sharing stories.
I want to know I want to know one that day, because then that's another one up on...
Yeah.
That's another star on the shirt.
Another World War we've won. That's it. But yeah, it just shows you that we are not born to kill as people. But nowadays, because so let's actually go to Vietnam now. So the way propaganda was done back then, they literally, the Americans basically called them dirty mongrels from Vietnam. They're gonna take and do things to your women and children. Basically, they said all sorts of things to the Americans. They basically bred them to be these absolute killing machines.
Yeah.
Same with the Viet Cong. The Viet Cong were nasty buggers.
Yeah.
Things that they did, the torture techniques, things like that.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. If a Viet Cong tried to torture me, I would absolutely annihilate the bugger. But
Rambo Harris.
It changed. Yeah, exactly. Me throwing left hooks. I'd wipe out a whole battalion with one left hook, mate. But 90. The figure changed to 90% of guns were fired in Vietnam. So just through propaganda, through what politicians were telling the troops, basically these are Nazi fuckers, kill them.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's quite interesting. Cause I studied the Vietnam War. Do you reckon? So there was a thing called guerrilla warfare. If people don't know, do you reckon that was just firing by pure panic? Because I actually done a little bit on this for one of my dissertations in secondary school about the not necessarily the fire rate, but the death rate in comparison to like US to Vietnam, and obviously with guerrilla warfare, they were basically just regular people dressed in clothes, going around trying to kill soldiers, and then they'd fuck off, leave their guns where they killed your mate or whatever it was, and then go to the next like village and go, right, I was here this whole time, don't tell them. Or they would just go off and hide, obviously, in the underground bunkers that they had.
Yeah.
But they would do like surprise attacks, and do you reckon it was just a case of they just went, oh fuck someone, and just fucking started spraying the gut, like, you know what I mean? It could have been, it probably was through
Probably
that.
circumstantial, like you say. You know, there'll be
Yeah.
so many different individual events that would have happened that led to a gun being pulled, and like that probably happened quite a lot. Like you know, surprise attacks, and then you just pulled the trigger, or it was anticipated and they knew it was coming.
I was like, oh, that's the fuckers I've
Yeah.
been told
'Cause
about.
how long did that war go on for?
I went on for so long. It went like when I say so long, I mean like it went over for a few years, but it dragged out so much longer than they thought it was going to take. So they thought that was going to rinse them because they had no army really. They didn't really have any financial backing. They didn't really have the ammo supplies for it. All they had was, this is our home. We know the terrain. We know how to protect it. Basically, we know where to go.
Yeah.
And then that's where the whole thing of like Agent Orange came into it, like napalm strikes and stuff, where it's just basically dumping oil and rubber across villages and just absolutely slaughtering people disgustingly. But yeah, so that was because of us not being able to handle guerrilla warfare, of just people running and hiding and changing their jumper, basically. Someone's just gone up, take this one off.
Bloody little fake glasses and moustache.
Where's
Sitting
Wally,
there on
innit?
a newspaper, like,
Exactly. I did not just shoot your mate. So.
that was not me. What was
Exactly.
it? Nothing. But
It's crazy.
yeah.
Man. Yeah.
That is a real interesting one. If you can have a look into Vietnam, it's
Yeah,
well interesting.
exactly. But also look at how the Americans were conditioned as well. You obviously you've got the propaganda and the news stories. Basically, the Viet Cong being made out to be these absolute monsters, just like the Nazis were, which they are world monsters. It's not.
Sugarcoat it.
Sugarcoat, they were monsters.
Yeah.
But some of them obviously were in shitty situations, and they were forced to pretty much become these soldiers in this militaristic organisation they didn't want to be a part of in the first place.
100%.
Propaganda's one thing, but also look at the soundtracks, the absolute tunes that were made specifically because we knew that we, the Brits, mainly made the music for the Vietnam soundtrack. You know, you had The Who, I mean, you had Clash, Led Zeppelin, Rolling Stones, all British bands. And obviously you had Jimi Hendrix, who came over to Britain, wouldn't have been famous without us. So it was technically us as well.
I'll take that one.
Cream, you know, all the lot. They were upbeat music about war, really upbeat music, like with like really memorable.
Going to war, like
so these soldiers going in pumps, ready for it.
Back
in black. They're like, oh yeah, let's go.
When you look at the
America.
older movies and stuff, it is very much like that. And all the movies are based around the music and the soundtrack of war. Like,
so you're so amped up that no doubt you're going to find it somewhat fun in a weird way. They made it almost associating war with fun and freedom by using these different soundtracks, these different songs.
That's an interesting way to look at it.
Yeah, it is.
That's really interesting because it goes into the human psyche of piecing this event. Oh, don't do this.
come on, Siri, what's going on?
But it pieces one event that happened. Obviously, like them going off to war with, they sort of linked it to good music and good times and camaraderie that they probably had in their platoons and everything. So. You wouldn't even think about that really, unless someone brought it up with like how basic humans are, how easy we are to manipulate.
Influenced.
Yeah, so easily. Like it happens every day, though, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, we influence each other as well.
Yeah.
Really easily, subtly. We might not even notice it, but we influence each other.
There was a film. You seen the film Focus? That's a good example of it. You know when they say that they played the Woo Woo song, and that's Chinese or something for 55, and they done this whole like scheme where they found this really rich fella and was like, we're gonna rinse him out of money, and they basically gambled, lost, and then there was like, right, one big win. Then you guess this, you pick one player on the pitch, anyone you want, and they showed the beforehand of them like subliminal messages they passed to him, just like even to the wallpaper on the hotel that he stayed at was in the shape of like a 5, and it was just constant 5s everywhere he went. So he was inevitably gonna pick.
I remember that movie really well now,
Yeah.
and that's the power of it, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
subliminal
yeah.
messaging, like they make it like Hollywood, but people really do that.
Yeah.
It's in marketing, media, everywhere.
Yeah,
They do it in
Everywhere you go.
shops. They do it in shops, even like the way they lay out Tesco's. The fresh stuff is at the beginning, and then as you get to the end and you're tired of shopping and you think, I'm fucking hungry now, I want something to eat, you go down the sweet aisle, don't you?
Yeah,
and you go
yeah.
down all the sugaries and everything,
yeah.
and you end up buying
Everything's
shitloads.
well thought out.
Yeah, it's even the way they structure their shelves. Like the expensive stuff's in the middle normally, and then the cheap stuff's at the bottom, like the Tesco's own stuff.
The stuff
all
that's
at
at
the bottom.
eye level, yeah.
Eye level.
Alcohol, and when you kind of like, oh, kind of fancy it. Cheeky vino, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly it. But it goes on in everyday life. It's pretty interesting to think about though. As much as it's like, wow, that's fucked.
It's good to be clued up about it, because if you're informed, you know how to go about shopping in Tesco's.
Yeah, there you go. If you don't take anything away from this, if you're shopping in Tesco's, don't look in front of you. Look down.
Yeah.
First world.
Just get what you want to
problems,
get out. Yeah.
You're talking about Vietnam now. You're talking about shopping in Tesco's.
Yeah, you
The mind is the human race is very complex.
It certainly
species,
is. Certainly is. It's what's so fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we could probably do another 5 hours of this, to be fair.
Yeah. Oh man, but I think that's probably a good note to wrap it up on.
Yeah.
And,
I agree.
Really appreciate you coming on, Aaron. It's been
No
it's
worries
been
at
amazing.
all.
Honestly, absolutely.
I'll be happy to come on again.
Oh, you
Yeah,
absolutely.
mate.
Talk about sports psychology.
Yeah, we actually touched
we
on
did talk about that today.
Definitely, yeah, would love that.
Yeah, no,
I can't believe
brilliant.
we didn't talk about that today.
I know,
We probably did in
There's
in
too
pieces,
many
but-
interesting stuff going
Yeah.
on, man. There's too many. It's
Yeah.
it's such a big topic to talk
Yeah.
about. It's so hard to say it in one. But I'm glad we spoke about this bit first, because I think what we spoke about will help people out a little bit more than how athletes would sort of react to like psychology and everything in a given sport.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
As
Brilliant.
I said before, this was a preface.
Yeah.
What's to come?
Preface.
I hate that word, man. I can't say it. Because I read it in books and I'm like, how do you say that? Because I've never said it before. I've never heard anyone say that word before.
It's kind
Apart
of
from reading it in books.
Apart from you
It's
today,
kind of-
10 times.
I'm the only one who's ever said that word. I think it's just been written down.
Well, it's a funny, it's going with Family Guy, but it's relatable. Where what's it called? Computer Smith, Lois's dad, and he goes, oh, can you hear the wind in the background? And someone goes, what? He goes, the wind, and he goes, do you mean wind? He went, oh, I've only ever seen it written down.
Oh, I remember that episode. Yeah. And on that bombshell.